Hey, Master Welch here. I am out in the field for work, so I just got the news about the PlayStation cutting off the disc media. My thoughts on it is it's it's kind of a big deal, dude, in terms of basically abandoning the old school fans of the brand and just catering to the new generation, which is already used to the, digital purchase only because they never knew about, uh, having the ease and the fun of shopping for discs in stores. And I feel like, I'm in my 40s and it's crazy to me to think how long I've been playing PlayStation games and like how many I actually have. And just over the years, I had my set, sold it, started recollecting. I feel like this is also going to jump the value of PlayStation discs themselves. So this is going to turn into a real big new scramble, I think, for physical media when it comes to the Sony platforms, because that's it. That's it, folks. I mean, there is no more physical coming from them in a year. You know, that's it. And I'm kind of just amazed because I think about like the PlayStation conventions I've went to back in like I don't know 2014, 15, and beyond, and the physical media was just flourishing in the PS3, PS4 era. And the PS5 era has actually really got quite a few games too. Some that, are, AAA games, but there's also a lot of like mid tier games, first party developer games. A lot of the Sony in house studio games are kind of non existent, other than like The Last of Us and God of War and whatnot. And with the closures of studios and all the, transformations of games from being a work of art and like a passion project by the companies themselves, even the Sony brand, passion projects, they're gone. It's turned into political propaganda on a lot of their AAA games, which, it sucks. I mean, it sucks. I mean, these original visions probably were never planned for that kind of thing. And, if they were, then, it's just a sad decay of gaming itself. And like, I feel like Sony's library, and I'm a Sony fan, but I'm thinking Sony's library versus the extensive library of Steam, and they, it's like resetting to a new PlayStation network, and they're going to have literally everything, or it's going to turn into a deal where it's just going to be the new games with lots of DLC, a lot of those classics that Sony designed with passion aren't going to be in the mix. I mean, sure, they've done some remasters of some of their games, which they are pretty good, like even like with the Killzone Liberation, the Jack and Daxter, redoing certain games of current gen, like the Last of Us games. I think that, The Last of Us 1, I think, benefited pretty good from a remaster just because it was a PS3 game and it was older tech. I'm still waiting for that Uncharted. I think actually, I don't know if I played the original Uncharted remaster or not, but the Uncharted games, the abandonment of Uncharted is just crazy to me. It's just sad. It's a sad day, man. It's a sad day. And like, I feel like, Astrobot is a very good example of them showcasing their history. So I mean, if you want to use Astrobot as a blueprint of where to go and start, if you want to build a legacy collection, if you're new into like the PlayStation series stuff beyond just the base consoles, use the Astrobot game as a good way to find everything because I feel like this stuff's going to start drying up now too, just for that reason, because they know the original classic nostalgia is now been taken away by Sony. And, ever since Andrew House left as CEO of Sony, um, it's just gone downhill. Jack Tretton before him, he did a great job reviving the Sony brand out of the, PS3, PS4 era. Andrew House, I had the honor of meeting him in person, and he just did a phenomenal job. I love that guy. Shuei Yoshida, he did a great job. Kaz Hirai, um, uh, who the heck else? Man, the original PlayStation guy, not Kaz Hirai, but anyways, that guy. Those guys, they were a passion project of the Sony, and it's just like crazy to think like, where did all that go? Who made these decisions? And yeah, so I'm gonna dig out all my old PlayStation footage I got from all the events, and it's pretty cool if you dig through like the PlayStation Experience events. People have I've always just went through and looked at what other people looked at that I didn't, and there's a few videos that caught me in it, and my girlfriend at the time was in another one of them. But it's just like, it was a cool time for PlayStation, and ever since the PS5 started making these crazy changes, like I feel like it's gonna affect the brand, and like they're gonna have to come in really strong to mitigate the people that are gonna be like, you know what, I'm just not gonna do it. I'm just not gonna do it. And I guess that makes sense why Sony said they're not gonna be doing any more games on Steam Digital. And I always kind of wondered if they would ever do this. And I always kind of thought in my mind that maybe Sony would just build a specific PC and evolve the PlayStation Network to be like Steam. And like, I just don't feel like Sony can capture all the indies and AAA games all at once like Steam can. So yeah, this is Master Welsh signing off. It'll be a little while for I put out another game content video. I got plenty to share with Neo Geo. I've been planning that one for probably about a month and a half, 2 months now. So yeah, I'm gonna get on and show what I've been getting into with Neo Geo. I didn't grow up with Neo Geo, and well, I did, but I never had a Neo Geo in my house. Only knew one guy who actually played Neo Geo ever. And I can think, I remember seeing maybe a few of the Neo Geo arcade games out in the wild, but, at arcades, but I never paid attention to it, and like, anyways, that's what Neo Geo's doing is pretty cool. It's kind of interesting to see like Neo Geo's capturing the spotlight with their hardware in a classic format, and then you got a company like Sony that's innovative and has the capability to make the best games in the world, but yet they've been stumbling and stumbling. And I feel like by them pulling the trigger on not keeping physical media alive is a huge mistake on their part, because I know for a fact that at one point they stated with the PS6 they were going to not dev units, but preliminary talk was that the PS6 was still going to carry a drive. Now, maybe they're not going to manufacture PS6 games on a drive in a drive format in terms of Blu-ray. Maybe it still will have a drive and be able to play your old games, but the only way for Sony to redeem themselves, I feel, by doing this is to include a drive, unlock that system to play all the legacy consoles in one. And if they got to pay some sort of fee to be able to pop their disc in or something, people will pay it. This is the only way Sony's going to be able to save themselves and draw interest to their digital storefront. But anyways, I could rant on this with ideas, and it's going to be very interesting to see what the PS6 can bring, because, I was already kind of thinking about updating my TV. I haven't done that for a while. I updated my TV when the PS5 came out to one of their first 4K compatible 120 hertz, which had to be done through firmware updates like 6 months to a year after the PS5 was already out, and they said that TV paired with it. And anyways, I was thinking about upgrading to a true RGB Sony, and they're an expensive TV, like $5,000. And I was thinking about, well, it's probably about time I refresh my TV and get one of those. And I thought, that true RGB would look good with retro gaming and scalers and the future of PlayStation. And like now, I'm just like, I don't know. I'm super bummed out, super disappointed, and I'm just ranting now because I'm in shock. It's just like the end of an era, the end of a legacy. They're going to become down the drain with all kinds of problems like Xbox, and down the drain with, trying to maintain publishers that will publish with them exclusively, and that I don't think that's going to happen much anymore unless Sony opens the floodgates on first party studio games that are only exclusive to their network. And Sony's throwing that down the hole, in recent years. But anyways, this is Master Welch, and like I said, it'll be a while before I post something. I guess if some more comes out of this news, I'll do another like live video like this. I haven't done this yet on my channel in terms of talking about things, but I want to start integrating this into what I'm trying to do with my channel. And I'm just like slowly trying to build it up with different kinds of content without all the extra flair in that, because that's just not who I am. I'm just a regular old gamer with lots of knowledge, I guess, and ideas and perspectives, and still want to experience a few things in the retro industry I haven't, and still experience things that's forthcoming. But the way things are going, man, I don't know. It's just kind of like a disappointment. Like maybe retro is where it's going to be at forever. So anyways, this is Master Welch. See you in the next one.